talking about your money. It's a Wednesday. Imagine this, a 3-day weekend all the time. That dream could become a reality with many companies tinkering with the idea of 4-day work weeks. The brand new issue of Entrepreneur Magazine examines companies that have implemented a shorter work week and what results have been so far. Here to dish about what to find out, how this is all unfolding is friend of the show, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, Jason Feifer. Always so good to see you.
Great to see you. You ready for a 4-day work week? Ready for an extra day off?
Honey, child, I've been ready for a 4-day work week since I graduated Wesleyan University back in 1996.
Let's do it.
Listen, Jason, this is literally all the talk. Is it really a thing? And if so, okay, to explain, and then tell me why it's catching on now.
Yeah, so let's back up. Let's back all the way up.
Okay.
I think that for everything that we do, we should be asking ourselves, why are we doing this? And if the answer is because that's the way it's always been done, that is a good reason to re-examine. And for a long time, people have wondered, why are we working 5 days a week? Is this something that we should still be doing? And so experiments have been run. Maybe you've heard of them. There was a very famous one at Microsoft Japan a number of years ago. They moved everyone to a 4-day work week, and then they tested what was happening, or they studied and they surveyed, and they found that there was actually no drop in productivity, even though people were working 4 days instead of 5 days. So that's very interesting, academic. But now, because of the Great Resignation, because people are reconsidering how they want to work, where they want to work, companies are starting to say, we need to adapt to the needs of our workers. And so we need to start thinking differently. And that is driving a lot of companies to start considering 4 days of work.
So which companies are implementing this? Come to work for me. You only have to be here 4 days.
It is, let's be clear, it is not happening all over the place, and nobody expects that every kind of company is going to be able to do this. Right now, you're seeing it at tech companies and companies that are already pretty comfortable with flexible working styles, so whether that's remote or something else. If you at home would like a 4-day work week, well, one thing you can do is try to find one of these companies to go work for. You can go to a company or a site called flexjobs.com, a website specifically for people who are looking for remote, hybrid, or flexible jobs. And I would also say it doesn't hurt to just start a conversation wherever you work. I talked to this company called Buffer. They have a 4-day work week. It started with someone who just read about that Microsoft Japan study, dropped it into the Slack channel. It began a discussion, and they thought, maybe this should work for us.
I really do like this idea, because I just read an article this morning about a group of corporate executives who are poo-pooing this idea. They want bodies in offices, and they're trying to shame the one person in the conference room who's dropping in via Zoom, saying, can you really, are you really going to be aces if you're, just dialing in via Zoom? To which you say what?
To which I say, you might very well start to lose your best workers. In fact, Apple just lost one of its star AI leaders because they were trying to get that guy to come back to the office, and he didn't want to. This is going to start to become a question of how you retain talent. I understand if you are running a company and you spent a lot of money on your office, you want that office to be used. But unfortunately, we have moved into a different world, and people have different needs. And that's not to say, again, this is going to work for everyone, because it's not. It's not going to work for everybody. But for a lot of spaces with a lot of people, they're going to be looking for lifestyle, and they're going to be looking for, how does work fit into everything else that I'm doing? And the better that an employer can create that environment, the better they're going to attract talent.
I mean, people like on-air talent, we have to physically be in the space. We cannot do this 4-day work week. But I do wonder, is productivity still at the very least level or increasing with a 4-day work week?
With a 4-day work week. So what people are generally seeing is that productivity remains the same. Sometimes it actually does increase. And the reason for this is because people are doing less of the stuff that was, frankly, not contributing to productivity. Fewer meetings. Let's get rid of the meetings. You hate meetings. I hate meetings. Most meetings are an absolute waste of time.
This meeting could have been an email.
Put it in an email. That's right. An email could solve so many things. And what is so interesting, because there's this guy, his name is Justin Mitchell, and he runs a company called Yak. Yak is an asynchronous meetings platform. So the idea is that you have threads of voice memos and screen recording so that you can communicate, but you're not all in the same place at the same time, yapping away and wasting time. And he said that when he tries to pitch this to potential clients, one of the things that they say is, well, if I'm not having meetings, then I don't know if people are working it. And he says, aha, you are measuring things wrong. You're measuring input instead of output. You're measuring the hours people spend doing the work instead of the product of their work.
I like that. I like this yak guy.
Me too.
Is there, Jason, is there any downside whatsoever to a shorter work week that you can think of?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are a couple of downsides. First of all, I have heard from people who are running companies that do 4-day work weeks. It's not easy. This is not some kind of simple fix. There's been a lot of trial and error. They've messed a bunch of things up. So this is going to require rethinking not just how many days you work, but really the entire system by which your company operates. But also, very interestingly, people said that people who work 4-day work weeks, they love the extra time off, but they are feeling more disconnected from their colleagues because they're not using that extra time to chit chat and to catch up. And that can be isolating. And so that's something that these companies are now trying to address.
Jason, let's you and me find some of these folks and put all this to the test. I want to hear from the actual real life people who are like, I turned down a job because they wanted me to work 5 days a week. And let's go find that person and put it to the test.
One of the people I talked to, the head of people at Buffer, I asked her, is this a retention strategy? Because are people not leaving Buffer because they don't want to go back to 5 days a week? And she said that one employee that she talked to said that he would need an extra $100,000 at another company.
Well, dang.
that would force him to work 5 days a week.
Well, shut my mouth. I like the sound of that.
Well,
Jason,
let's bring him.
Let's bring him. Jason, it's always a pleasure to see you. The lighting today is phenomenal.
Thank you. I got a brand new light just today. This is the first time. So we were riding or dying on this light, and I appreciate the compliment.
Thank you. Thank you. To read the full article on the 4-day work week, pick up the latest issue of Entrepreneur Magazine.
Thank you so much.
There it is. I'm all for this.